Here we go. Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
While I was training over the weekend, I was thinking about ways that you can not only perform your best, but kind of know how you're going to perform your best. And um, there's a lot of rules out there. People think about, how they're training, their plans, their, anything like that. And there's got to be like a set of ways to measure, I guess, how you're doing and how you're going on your own. And so I started making a little bit of a list. And these are just some of the things I came up with, rules for performing your best, and see how they resonate. Some of them are things that you've heard many times, I guess. But the first one being is sleep. I think we as a society has gotten used to dealing with less and less sleep as we go along. And even the other day, someone mentioned to me that they only need like 6 hours of sleep a night. And I think we fooled ourselves into kind of believing that we only need a certain amount of sleep per night, when actually everybody needs 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. So I think we can get used to not sleeping that much. I know when I was in the military, got very used to going on 2, 3, 4 hours of sleep at a shot, between watches and, duties and things like that. I think you get used to performing on little sleep. I know there's also a few races, especially triathlons, where you're up till maybe an hour or two before your race, or you're tossing and turning all night, because you can't really sleep. You're all keyed up and you manage to go out there and race just fine. But I think overall your sleep kind of needs to be there, and it's the way the body kind of rejuvenates itself. So I think the less amount of sleep you have, it's almost like a cumulative effect, I guess, is that, you might feel good the first day or two, but eventually it's going to catch up to you and you're going to sleep all day. So I would say definitely sleep. And the second, third, and fourth things all are kind of related to each other. Is have a plan of action, know your plan, and then stick to the plan. We mentioned this on the last show, about sticking to the plan, but I think this is where a coach comes in handy. It's like, and I'm a coach, but I've used coaches as well. And I think where they come in handy is that having a plan of action of any kind, knowing what races are on your schedule and planning for them well in advance, not thinking at the last second you're going to, throw in 2 weeks of training and go out and do a marathon. Of course, there are many people that can do that, but I am not one of them for sure. But having that plan of action, and not only having a plan of action, but knowing your plan of action. I think a lot of times people will have like a plan, like I'll put a plan out for some, and they don't even look at it until like the day of. Personally, I always know for a whole week in advance what I have to do that week. When I'm talking to somebody and they'll say, well, what's on the agenda this week? I can tell them Tuesday night's a bike ride, and Wednesday night's swim night. Thursday night is, a run, a 2-mile run, Friday's a long run, Saturday's a long brick, things like that. I know well in advance of what it is. And I don't think it's even a matter of, in addition, I think it's a matter of knowing the plan and understanding the why of the plan. As a coach, I guess, again, I think it's important to not only build a plan, but know why you're giving a client or somebody a specific run or a specific interval or a specific hill work. There has to be a reason for it. I mean, a lot of books will tell you that, every training session should have a goal. You're not out there to just ride 25 miles. There's a specific goal to that. And understanding that plan is part of what your coach is there for as well. I think that's the big thing that that's missing when you buy a plan off the internet, or you get a book and you just copy it out of a book, you don't always understand the why that certain things are. Now, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't, but for the most part, I think, when you do that, you don't really understand the purpose of all these things. And I think the most important thing is sticking to the plan. And I know I said this in the show, but in the main podcast, but if you have 3 miles on your plan, you need to do those 3 miles. There's a reason for those 3 miles. Yes, life gets in the way sometimes, and it's unavoidable if you get stuck at work, or the baby's sick, or, the wife is sick, or the husband's sick, things happen. But, I think too many times we just don't want to do it. And that mindset has to be gone, especially if you're really training to do something specific. You need to get out there and do it, even if you're tired, even if it's 8 o'clock at night. And as Rob said in the show, even if it's just get out there and do a mile, because I think once you get out there and at least do it, even if it's only a mile of a 3 mile plan, once you're out there, you're going to do the 3 miles because you're out there anyway. So I think that's an important part. Another thing is the fueling of your body. So, we're not going to get into a big diet discussion. We talk about that ad nauseum all the time, but I think it comes down to clean fuel. You don't put crap in your car to run your car, so why would you put crap in your body to run your body? So clean food, real food, no additives. Again, in the show, we talked about mayonnaise of some kind, and not to irritate all the vegans or the vegetarians out there, but I just don't get how, ethical reasons aside, if you're talking about purely health reasons, how mayonnaise made of all these different oils and additives and sugar and whatever they put in those things to make something that tastes like mayonnaise is more healthy for you than eggs and oil, which is what mayonnaise is. So I don't buy that. I don't, if it's an ethical reason, I totally get that. But the other is not healthier. I mean, either eat real mayonnaise or don't eat mayonnaise at all. Just my 2 cents there. Another important thing is we call like finding your group. And what I mean by that is finding people, find people and surround yourself with people that think like you do and want to do the things you do. I can't tell you how many times, and myself included in the past, that you have people around you that just aren't into training, just aren't into running or biking or cycling or hiking or whatever you want to do. And, some people are strong-willed and will do it anyway. But for the most part, if you're in a family of 6 people and 5 people aren't into it, you're going to get sucked down. Not just family, but even friends. If you're in a group of friends that drink every night, and eventually you're going to get sucked into them, and I think it's important that you find people that have the same beliefs and the same wants and needs and goals that you have, and surround yourself with that, and get rid of the Muda, as we say in Six Sigma world, is the stuff that doesn't really help you in the long run. Another big thing, especially in triathlon, is challenge your weaknesses. It's very easy for us as athletes, I guess, and especially, as human nature, that we gravitate toward the things that we like to do, even at work, even in life in general. And we gravitate toward things we like to do, and we shun things that are hard for us or that we just don't like to do. I mean, at work, I can tell you I like to do statistics, and I hate doing administrative crap. So instead of looking at it like, well, let me do the stuff I don't like to do and get it out of my place so I can spend more time on what I want to do, I will tend to spend a lot of time on what I like to do and then scramble at the end doing the things I don't like to do. In triathlon, everybody talks about the swim. I've talked about the swim. It's very easy to say, well, I don't want to swim, so I'm going to bike and I'm going to run. And you know what? I got plenty of time before the race to get my swims in. And then before you know it, the race is there, and you've maybe done one swim a week, and you're just not ready for it. So of course you're going to have a bad swim, which of course affects your whole race after that. And same goes for running. You're training for a marathon, but you hate long runs or you hate intervals. So you're skipping on the intervals, and it's going to bite you in the end. So I think the most important thing is to find out what your weakness is and really focus on doing what you don't like to do. And even if you hate to do it the whole damn time, you just need to learn how to do it and realize it's just part of it, that you're not going to love every part of it. There are going to be parts of everything that aren't your favorite. And you need to just deal with that and move on and conquer those, those challenges and those weaknesses. And eventually they become strengths, right? If everything works out. And I think the last thing is sweat and everything. Being the best, improving is a 24/7 job. It's not something that you can think about an hour a day or 2 hours a day. I mean, if you want to be better, or if you're training for a race, or you're training even if you want to just be better at the group ride, it's something that you have to put effort into all the time. It's not something that you can take time off from. Everything has to have a purpose, like I said earlier. Every session has a meaning and an outcome. You have to sweat the small things. I mean, you'll hear people kind of kid me about the fact that I love numbers, but those numbers mean something, and it may seem inconsequential in the long run, no pun intended, that say you're the distance you're lifting your feet up, on a run seems inconsequential, but if everything else is right, then maybe that's the thing that you need to work on. There's always room for improvement. And those numbers will tell you what they are. Your heart rate's, not coming back down quick enough, or the power on your bike is not in your zone, and things like that. Everything means something. And I think in order to perform your best, you have to kind of realize that everything does mean something. So that's my sprint for the day. And if you have any input, of course, send me a line if you disagree with me, like everybody usually does at some point. Send me a line, and then let me know your thoughts on things. And as long as they're done nicely, we'll talk about them. So until next time, it's John signing out.